Now, Dr. Ofweneke. Now, I feel like these days mental illnesses have just become a trendy thing that people do. You get on TikTok, you get on Instagram, everybody is prescribing and telling themselves how they have this certain disease. And the one that's been most trendy is ADHD, you know? You're acting some type of way, you're impatient, you don't know what to do with your life, you're a bit disorganized, you already tell yourself, Mimi, I suffer from ADHD, so please work accordingly. Anyway, Dr. Ofweneke is now telling us even he suffers from ADHD, and it started in high school. He couldn't quite understand how he had zero attention span, especially in school, in class, and in high school. He had to go through 5 different high schools until he finally landed in Moya Secondary School or something like that. Anyway, it was then that he actually discovered haikwangi. You know how you can't even have a conversation with somebody without them, you know, talking about something else. I'm talking to Kathami about the weather, and then halfway she's like, do you know billions of people die of hunger? You know? And, you know, the definition of ADHD is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and it actually affects a lot of people. You think somebody is just impatient, or they were just rude, or they just had something going on, or they were dismissive of your conversation. Whole time, this person has undiagnosed ADHD. So you just have to go and look into it, go get a checkup, figure out if you're on the spectrum. That's another thing. A lot of people are on the spectrum, but because they've never had a test, they just say, I'm just weird. They're just weird like that. And just being on the spectrum doesn't have doesn't mean you only have Down syndrome. Being on the spectrum means there's a whole spectrum of conditions and disorders that could be affecting you, but you don't know the whole time. Anyway, Dr. Ofweneke's is ADHD. What is yours? Because no one is normal. People are suffering from something. Me personally, it is fatigue. I'm always tired. I don't know if it's like if it's like iron deficiency or something. I need to take my vitamins or something. I don't know. But what mental disorder do you think you're suffering from, and has it affected your behavior and your behavior towards other people?
I feel like sometimes, especially now in the age of people being very aware of their mental health issues and their developmental issues and so on and so forth, a lot of people have had to learn the hard way that, by the way, it's not you. You weren't the problem. The only thing that is happening is that something else was affecting you and your life and your mental space. I have an example of a friend. We went to school together, and honestly, this girl could not, she just failed exams all the time. And everyone normally would just go like, no, she's just dumb. But in reality, she was a very smart person, but somehow she really just could not read. Hence, the only time she'd be able to pass an exam.
Dyslexia.
Yes, the only time she'd be able to pass an exam was if you actually sat her down and then you'd go through the text together, so you're reading it to her. And at that time, you know, you're young, you don't understand what's going on, but this is the solution. This seems to be working, so we're good. Because she would be literally constantly nose in books. You know those people who are
they're really trying, they're really working hard.
She would really have to study through a book, and she'd stick through a page for hours, and you don't really know what's going on. So obviously, you know, as Kenyans, it was you know, we are very crude about these things. But now later on in life is when I realized, oh yeah, maybe she may have been dyslexic. Maybe she just couldn't be able to process information unless it is told to her. So let's not be so hasty with judgment, and let's not be so quick to pass judgment to people based on our preconceived notions and biases. We just need to be more adaptive, more collaborative, more attuned with what is going on in the world. And there's so many issues. Even Kevin Hart and his funny joke movie where he played a person who couldn't process things. So he had a learning disability, which it would take him hours to do the same amount of work and studying that other people will be able to do, especially in your children. Please be keen. If your child is looking like something is wrong, if your child is looking like they're finding it difficult to do 1 or 2 things, maybe it's time for you to actually try and get them to a doctor who will be able to check them up and be able to help them figure out what the problem is, as opposed to just saying, uyu ata akwangi bright. They're not very smart. They were born that way. No. Get help for your children.